Fortnite Zero War's Marvel comics are starting to come out, and in this video we will explain the full storyline of the issue 1 of the comics. So let's begin! The Zero Wars comics start at Madripoor, a fictional city in Marvel's Reality 616, located at an island in South Asia. Jones and Spider-Man are here with Wolverine to try and probably get his help. Spider-Man starts by asking for a fresh cup with extra ice, making Wolverine be like, no, you seem sus, I'm done fighting and I won't help y'all. So Jones takes the wheel instead, asking for a puffer fish decor. What? And at the middle of that makes a joke about the 617. Get it? Because it's like a reality after 616. Wow, so funny, Jones. Which of course this pisses off Wolverine, making him wanna like kick him out of here. Why are you so small brain, Jones? I swear. Then after that, one of the 7, the Imagine, joins in, asking for the strongest drink in the bar. The most fun member in the 7, I swear. She calls Wolverine short, dark, and hairy. Damn. Wolverine actually kinda enjoys that because it makes the Spider-Man nervous. See, she knows what she's doing. Imagine for the win. Spider-Man, being nervous, talks about how the material of his suit is made to prevent sweat stains. Oh, he's sweating right now for sure. And Imagine finally says the real deal of how they need Wolverine's help. The Imagine also says that they brought the Spider-Man here because they thought he would be the best person to explain things to Wolverine. And actually, Wolverine is starting to kind of really like Imagined. And so because of that, he asks for more drinks for everyone and makes a Spider-Man pay for the drinks. Mom and Spidey already got no money. Poor guy. Spider-Man talks about how a chunk of Manhattan and Daily Bugle was disappeared with him, and how all of Daily Bugle and himself landed in a new island. Yes, we finally are getting an explanation while Daily Bugle is in Fortnite. And Wolverine talking about the black suit is actually a reference to Spider-Man Venom. Spider-Man starts to explain the Fortnite universe to Wolverine and where he exactly landed. He says it's a universe where every single reality ever came from. We actually learned this in the Foundation comics, and how the 0 point is actually the god and it has created everything ever. Like, it's the god of the multiverse. So like, yeah. He also talks about how the Big Bang created the 0 point, and how for a long time, or like thousands of years, it was being abused by the IO, and how IO was doing evil science experiments with it, snitching people to fight in this world. He also talks about how one time even Iron Man, Thor, or even Wolverine himself were in this world. And of course, this is talking about season 4 chapter 2 of Fortnite, one of my favorites. Spider-Man also explains how the IO really want to wipe out anyone or anything that exists on the island, referring to the Collision Live event. He talks about how him and the 7 were trying to stop the IO, but they were only 6, meaning the timeline in the storyline of the Zero Wars comics issue 1 is probably before the Collision Live event, and when Paradigm did not count as a 7 member. But she's back in the gang now! Awesome! Spidey now tries to explain the leader of the 7. He calls Foundation a big armored guy. Like, imagine him as like if Tony Stark was Nick Fury, but then he was like built like a Hulk. I mean, that's kind of true. He's the freaking Rock. There is also more people in the 7 army like Jones and the Loopers, aka the players or us. Which these Loopers, as we know, are people kidnapped from their reality and brought here to endlessly fight. Which the 7 are trying to help and send these people back to their own reality. Spidey also explains how if you die in a Fortnite loop, no worries, you just respawn back in the next match. Probably how a Sloan might be alive after the last live event. But if you're outside of the loop, you actually will die, like forever. Like the pirate fish stick here, oh god. Which also this explains that at this moment, everyone in here right now are outside of the loop. They can talk and everything like that. And Foundation actually explains to 8-Ball, which is really sad right now, how the fish stick which is dead is actually just a snapshot of the original fish stick, making 8-Ball not be sad anymore. And the important part about this is that seems like the snapshots of a person are not as important as the original person. But then after that, The Rock explains how the real fish stick like died a while ago. 8-Ball's brain is probably like, what the fuck? Yes, the original fish stick actually died in the Batman comics and is no more. RIP. The Rock talks about how even when we kill the IO guards or destroy their things, no worries, they just go to other realities, force other people to become their guards and steal their equipment. No wonder why there was like so many tanks and blimps. Foundation talks about how they need more power than ever for this fight. And for the first time ever, Visitor actually talks. So he's not deaf or anything, he can actually talk. And seems like Visitor was the one who came up with the idea of using Paradigm's mech from Season 9 to fight the IO. Big brain man. Spider-Man explains to Wolverine how Paradigm is the missing 7th member of the 7. Now how the 7 think that she betrayed them and joined the IO instead. Which now we know that this is wrong and Paradigm is actually a good person, she proved it in the live event. Then Spider-Man explains the Season 9 event to Wolverine and how when the mech won, it did a little dancey dance. And so he tries to show the dance wanting to floss. Thank God Wolverine said no. No more flossing. Spidey says how, as I have already explained before, the 7 were not in the zero reality with Paradigm at the moment in chapter 1. And the 7 only know about this event because of John Jones. Origin, being the one who researched the most about Paradigm, he's secretly in love with Paradigm, I tell you. Origin was actually the one who finds out after Paradigm flew into space, he actually landed on the ice moon and tried to kill even the other monsters in that place. And how the Season 9 monster and Polar Peak both were just a piece of that moon broken and thrown into the zero reality. Yes, the ice moon orbiting the Fortnite island is actually the home of the Ice King. That's insane. Origin also explains how the ice moon is deadly levels cold and how Paradigm could have even died from how cold that place is. And even if the 7 try to go to that place and rebuild the mech, it's gonna take a really long time. Foundation asks if the scientist can repair the mech and makes it strong enough to fight the IO. Scientist says maybe, but the ice moon is so cold it actually could crack and break their armors or even destroy their spaceship if they go there. And at this moment before the collision event, Spider-Man, which came into the world in Season 1, he tells the 7 that he wants to bring people from his reality into here to help them. The Marvel heroes, which some of them actually already been here before. The Order and the scientists start thinking about how they could send and bring help from Spider-Man's reality. And Origin says Jones has told him that there are 2 friends that Spider-Man have which can change the weather, being Storm and Thor, both were in Season 4. This shows us exactly how we managed to go to the ice moon in the live event. It was because of Thor and Storm, these 2 people fixed the weather. Order also explains how they can only send Spidey back to his reality. And for coming back to the island again, he needs to reach the 0 point, which is in like Io's stronghold. So Spider-Man, Foundation and John Jones come up with a plan and send Spider-Man and Jones into the 0 point. Jones, with his knowledge working in the IO, will help them open a portal to the 616 comic Marvel reality. And he will jump into that reality along with Spider-Man. And Foundation will only help them reach there and stays in the island to keep fighting the IO. And meanwhile, Origin asks for a favor from Spider-Man since the charges they have for coming back to the island is 2. Origin talks about how he loves to study different realities. So when the 7 started taking over IO's bridge, flipping the map, he accessed some of the files in the Season 8 event and learned about some interesting things. Origin says how when Galactus tried to eat the 0 point, he managed to take a fragment of the 0 point, a 0 shard, and he took it with him back into Marvel's 616 universe when he was defeated and no more dead. Origin wants the fragment of the 0 point because he thinks that just like how the 0 point superpowered the mech in Season 9, this 0 point shard will help them supercharge the mech again, letting the 7 repair it in like seconds instead of days. Spider-Man kind of gets sad of how he's going to miss the big battle again because of this. But again, he's talking about he was not part of the Season 4 Chapter 2 heroes, but he accepts to look for the 0 shard. The Order is trying to be a nice person, sending her sister the Imagine with Spider-Man, not because she doesn't trust Jones and Spider-Man, but Imagine is like, who cares about being nice? No, I'm coming because I don't trust you two. Imagine best member in the 7. So Spider-Man tries to talk and Imagine is like, no, and we get the most wholesome moment in the Fortnite storyline. They imagine an order, the sisters hug each other being worried for each other. Fortnite's storyline is the best, I swear. Now it's time for the Imagine the Spider-Man and Jones to find the 0 point in the bridge and for Foundation to protect them. Jones points out that where the IO dumped their toxic waste onto the ocean, reminding me of the Season 1 Chapter 2 trailer. Foundation explains how the toxic in the ocean gets kicked out into the void or the space around the island. Since like if you didn't know, yes, the planet of Fortnite is flat and the water just ends up in the space. Now we get the funniest moment! Jones on the back of Foundation like a baby. I swear, Jones should be just called the baby of the Rock. From being beaten by the Rock to being on his back and fist bumping. Character development. Oh wow, Spider-Man is actually trying to do the same thing to Imagine. But unlike how nice the Foundation is, Imagine is like, watch out or my armor will destroy you. I see how Wolverine likes her a lot now. Since Jones says they should go in stealthy, we see a new power of the 7th suit. How it can actually nearly make anything that touches it go invisible if it wants to. Inside this dump we see the IO guards dumping their toxic waste, which kinda looks like a slurp. And how one of the guards is actually sick of doing this and he thinks it might give him actual cancer. And the other guard in the back is like, we don't get cancer in our reality. That sounds like a good reality, I wanna go there. Then we get this epic moment of both of them getting bonked by Foundation and Imagined. And Spider-Man is like, why are we no more invisible? Foundation explains to him how this technology eats up like way too much power from his suit. So he wants to save up that power for more important things. And if anyone sees them, too bad for you, because Imagine is gonna self-destruct you as well. Jones talks about how the IO have been trying to clear the bridge after the Season 8 destroyed this whole place. But seems like they got bigger priorities than fixing this place up. And he says that the machinery they're near is designed to transmit an insane amount of energy. Probably for the collider. He also explains how the door they're near is for crisis event escapes, making me think this actually might be the burning room door in the imposter mode. And he says he's gonna take them to their office. Yes, Jones had a full big office in this bridge, even his own room. It's the same one we saw in the Season 2 Chapter 2 live event and even in the imposter game mode. Well, except the whole place is upside down now because of the event and everything is ruined. Exactly how he left it. Yes, you dum-dum. My man gets nostalgia of how he used to work with the IO. And he looks at this picture, which there were many pictures in his office, so I don't know which one it exactly is. But the 7 finally find the 0 point at the bridge. Source of everything in the world. Spider-Man is like, wow, I have seen nothing quite like it and I have like fought a giant armadillo. Spider-Man is tempted with how powerful the 0 point looks, but Foundation is like, stop, don't touch that thing until John Jones calibrated, I don't know. Or every cell in your body will be ripped from the others and sent to like different realities. This actually happened to Eternal Voyager in the Batman comics, poor guy. And out of nowhere suddenly Foundation gets shot and the person who shot him says one step behind as usual. Interesting. Jones thinks the person who shot was Geno and he gets happy saying like, here you go man, there he is. But Foundation is like, you small brain, that's not Geno. Seems like Jones thought Gunner is Geno, but Foundation explains how Geno won't go down as easily as Gunner did in Season 8's event. I mean, like after seeing him in the last event, my man looks creepy and really powerful, I'm scared. From this, Jones finds out that everyone in the IO were actually lied to, and that Gunner is just a puppet of Geno acting like he is the boss of IO, while he's just a way for Geno to stay in hiding. I knew Gunner had a big role in this story. Dr. Sloan talks about something which makes Jones realize that Geno doesn't even know who he is or doesn't even know his name. That's kind of sad. And once more we see the two big boys 1v1ing each other for like the 3rd time. While Imagine is fighting Sloan and calling Spider-Man the skinny one, poor Spidey. So he tries to make a cover using his webs for him and Jones. Jones finally opens a portal to Reality 616, letting Imagine Imagine jump in. But John waits to find a way to close the portal exactly when they go in it so the IO can't follow them. But Spider-Man is like, nah, you're taking too long. So he's like, grabs them and tries to whip the portal closed right when they go inside of it. And somehow with his like Fade's level aim, he actually manages to hit the right button. So Sloane fails in stopping them from going into Marvel Reality 616. So she's like, and Sloane is like, Jones, you're extra fired. Kind of funny. And then she calls the Rock dead while shooting with her Zappertron at the same time as Gunner bonks him, hurting the Foundation a lot, making him go flying. This is the second fight Gunner has actually won against the Rock. 2v1 it is. And Gunner is confused if Foundation is finally dead or not. So Sloane is like, she thought he was dead and she was like proven wrong, but it doesn't matter. And yes, Sloane is talking about in season 8 when she said like the same thing.
Impossible. I watched you die.
I got over it.
Sloane looking hella creepy says our enemies' numbers are reduced. And whatever Jones imagine as Spider-Man want to plan will take a long time, and that they don't realize how little of a time they have, referring to how the IO are nearly done with building the device. And now we're at Reality 616 Marvel's World with John Jones as Spider-Man and Imagined. Seems like for your first time being teleported by the 0 point, it will mess up your mind, making you feel weak and want to throw up. And while that happens, Imagine is fighting the Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel's actor actually being the voice actor of Paradigm. Really cool. Marvel calls Imagine an alien because she does not come from this world, and she asks her like, where do you come from? And Imagine is like,
Your worst nightmare.
so Marvel is like, never mind, time you beat each other up. Imagine the best. But remember that Captain Marvel is the strongest superhero in the Marvel movies, meaning that the Imagine managing to fight her shows how her and the Seven are some of the strongest beings in the multiverse. Spider-Man cuts the fight off, explaining how Imagined is friendly. And Marvel says how she thought Imagined was hurting him because the Spider-Man was unconscious on the ground. And then Imagined is like, to be fair, I did want to beat up a Spider-Man many times. Man! And now a Spider-Man asks for all the heroes in the Marvel to come together in the Avengers Academy for a big heroes meeting. Which this is actually located inside of a head of a dead Celestial. That's so cool. This is an actual Avengers Towers home in the comics, and I'm so happy they went with this one for Fortnite's comics. It's really funny. And so in the body of this Celestial, Spider-Man talks to our heroes, talking about how yes, some of the heroes in this world still need to protect the Marvel world, so some of the heroes need to stay here, while they need as many heroes in the Zero reality as possible, cause the 0 point is putting every reality, even theirs, in danger. I don't know. Spidey says that everyone who has already been in the island before is the best choice to go for help. People like Thor, Storm, or even Iron Man. The team up in season 4. Which Spider-Man says he will stay in the Marvel world because if you remember, he got a hunt for the Zero shards. But whoever else that wants to help out, he will just send them into the Zero reality. Iron Man then comes up being like he has chosen the list of the people who go into the Zero reality and the people who stay in the Marvel world. Why he gets to choose instead of everyone else? Probably his ego. So him and many other heroes get sent to Fortnite's island in season 2 to help the Seven. And after this, Imagine that starts to track down the 0 point shard, finding it in a radius of like 100 miles. That's a lot, or maybe a lot, I don't know. So for finding this 0 shard, Imagine asks for an experienced tracker, a good hunter. And that one is Wolverine. Exactly why right now they're with Wolverine at the bar. The Spider-Man was just like explaining all of this for Wolverine. So Spidey is like, did the things I explained make sense? And then Jones is like, bruh, I was there and even I couldn't follow. I mean, you're a small brain, so that doesn't count. You also look really drunk here, goddamn. And Imagine being on Wolverine's shoulder says that this will be the best fight Wolverine has ever had, making Wolverine be like, I'm in. These two need to marry each other, I swear. And yeah, poor Spider-Man has to pay for the drinks now. But now we change locations onto Dr. Doom's place. We see Dr. One Doom, which also has been in Fortnite before in Season 4 Chapter 2 and is actually talking to Geno, leader of DIO. Seems like Doom is still on the side of DIO and will fight the Spider-Man and not let them find the Zero Shard. Geno calls Doom the easiest partner choice for them in the entire Omniverse, welcoming him to be part of the Imagined Order. Because if you didn't know, Doom is actually one of the smartest and the strongest beings ever. He is just awesome. So the issue 1 of the Zero Wars comics is complete and the second part of the comics will come in probably like a week. So subscribe if you want even more storyline videos on the other Marvel comics coming really soon.